Welcome, welcome. Okay, amazing. Um, yeah, recording everything is perfect. I'm feeling very lucky. I just got back from the beach and then it started pouring with rain, so I feel like I've synchronized my morning perfectly. How's everyone doing? Good? So-so? Awesome. All right, let's dive in. I imagine we might have a few more joining us live, but let's go for it. So there are two things that I want to talk about today. The first is email marketing, and then sort of in the context of launching and launch sequencing. And then I'll open up for any questions or support that anybody wants individually. Um, so where we're at this point, hopefully, is that we have a funnel, we have a pathway for our customers, bringing them in for free, offering them something low cost, and then offering them a signature program. And we also have some pricing around that feels somewhat aligned and comfortable. And we're starting to build out those products, those actual offerings. We're starting to create them, at least collect the resources for them, formulate our thinking around them, etc., etc. Today, I want to make the assumption that all of those pieces of the jigsaw puzzle are already in place. And what we're focusing on here is how we then get them out into the world and how we start to find clients, customers, students, and actually feed people through that process. And a really huge part of that. So that's kind of what we call launching. And I think I mentioned in our last session that when I first started this kind of online business world, I would hear people talk about launching all the time, and I had no idea what it meant. It was very confusing to me because I kind of had this idea that you just create something and then you just release it into the world and people magically turn up and buy it. But it doesn't work that way. Um, and what I have since discovered is that when you do a launch, and a launch can look very different depending on your business model and your personality and a million other different factors, is usually when you get traction, when you get sales. So, a very simple example for that is that yesterday I put my Black Friday sale up and out into the world in my Bhakti Rose business. And that is a launch of sorts because various different programs that I run are on sale and I'm actively sending emails about them, I'm marketing them, I'm doing social media, I'm launching. So to launch means to proactively be in a sort of marketing campaign around a particular offering. And usually, one of the things that defines a launch is a really strong, what we call CTA. And CTA means call to action. Now, what is a call to action? A call to action is usually time sensitive, so it has a deadline. So to continue with the example of my Black Friday sale, it will end on Monday and then the discount will no longer apply. So that's my CTA. You've got until Monday. If you don't buy by then, the opportunity is lost. Um, when I first started my online business, I relied really heavily on discounting as my CTA. I just didn't really know any better, and I kind of got a bit stuck in a trap of constantly discounting when I launched. And there's a number of problems with that. The biggest one is that it devalues your work so that people end up just waiting for you to discount or be on sale rather than purchasing. And also, it kind of makes the prices seem like less real. Like if you're just discounting all the time, then, the prices kind of become meaningless. So after a couple of years, I realized that ethically and also sort of energetically, I didn't want to keep building my business around that model of discounting. And I can honestly tell you, it took me a good year to a year and a half to kind of wean myself off it because it's kind of a quick fix. It's like, oh, I need an influx of cash. I need, to get some sales. I know I'll offer a sale, I'll offer a discount, and then, you get that influx of cash. But it's not a sustainable long-term way to build a business, unless you want to build a business on this model of quick sales. Um, the other thing that happens when you discount a lot is that you tend to have a shorter relationship with your clients. So the discounting model relies on lots of people coming through and they get a bargain, but they don't necessarily stay with you. And I knew that I wanted to build my business on a foundation of long-term relationships. I wanted people to come back and I wanted them to buy from me multiple different ways and different times so that I could develop relationship with them. And the discounting model is at odds with that. So slowly over time, I replaced discounting with two different things, with a fixed cohort number, meaning I'm only selling X number of places, and when they're gone, they're gone. So, for example, in the Bhakti Business Group program, I sell only 15. I mean, there's actually 16 in this cohort, so an extra person snuck in, which is cool. But 15 is my cap. And once we reach that, I don't, I'm not promoting it anymore. So that's a call to action. It tells people, there's a limit to how many people can join this program. And another call to action, which is my favorite call to action, is a bonus that expires. So if you buy by this time, I will give you this thing for free as a bonus. So, for example, when you guys signed up for this program, I did not offer discounts. I offered the heart writing session with Rose, the heart writing book that got mailed to you, and the AI course. And they were your bonuses, and they expired when the deadline was reached. And a limited number. I only take 15. And another call to action is the date too. So if I'm saying we begin on so and so date, then that's also a call to action because that says you have to have signed up by this time. Otherwise, the course has started and it's too late. You have to wait for the next round. So there are lots of different call to actions, time, bonuses, limits of numbers, aside from discounting. And then I'm not saying never discount. I do still sometimes discount. Like I said, I've got a Black Friday sale running at the moment, but it's a lot rarer. And it certainly isn't what I'm basing my entire business model on. Now, what happens if you have no call to action is disastrous. Okay. You will not make any sales. I mean, I literally mean that. People need to be inspired to act. They may see an offer that looks like the best thing in the whole world and they want it more than anything. And they look at it and they go, yeah, but I could sign up next month. I've got that big water bill I have to pay this month, or I need new tires on my car or whatever. Or I don't have much time, or I'm feeling tired or whatever. There's just no reason. There's no compelling reason to join now. So we pretty much do always want to be in some kind of launch, meaning there's always some kind of call to action. There's some kind of, I don't want to say urgency in a way like we're trying to make people feel stressed, but there's some kind of like do it now vibe. And that should be legitimate and it should be genuine. It shouldn't be, fake or manufactured. Um, I'm trying to think. I was going to say you can have a business model that doesn't have launching, but I honestly can't think of a single person I know who has a successful business that doesn't use the launch model. Like people just require a call to action these days. It's not really viable to run an online business without some sort of call to action. So that's that. If you are interested in a bit more about the psychology of the CTA and how to create call to action and also the psychology of selling, there's a book I recommend, sort of recommend. It's called Launch by Jeff Walker. It'll be in the notes in the portal for you, but or on your website page, but I'll also just pop it in the chat now. Now, I don't love this book. I find Jeff Walker, in all honesty, to be slightly on the wrong side of ethical, as in he's a bit unethical. He's very pushy. There's a phenomena in America called bro marketing that you might have heard of, which is very common in the online space. And bro marketing is pushy and manipulative and I'll give you an example. A thing that bro marketing would say that I am utterly against in every way is if you're serious about growing your business and you've got no money, you should take out a credit card so that you can pay me to coach you, and then we'll make you loads of money. Yes, you'll have a credit card debt at the end of it, but my coaching will make you $1 million. So you're encouraging people with no money to go into debt and pay lots of interest in order to do your program. That is utterly wrong. And someone who came to me and said, I don't have the money to do your training, what should I do? I would never suggest that they borrow the money. Um, Another bro marketing tactic is to say something along the lines of, if you don't do this thing with me, you will fail. So if you don't join my menopause training, you're going to have a horrendous menopause. Or if you don't join my business training, your business isn't going to work. Those are tactics that are unethical. Give me just one moment, guys. Sorry, one sec. Sorry, small person interruption. So, I had a coach a while ago who I really liked. This is years ago, actually, who helped me when I was first starting online. And she was great. And I learned a lot from her and she helped me in my business. And then at some point, instead of it costing $300 or $400 to be in one of her programs, she wanted $10,000. So this is another thing that I have question marks around the ethics of: a very big leap in cost. Like it cost 200 and now it's 10,000. That feels to me not ethical. It feels off. And I'm not saying that certain things aren't worth a lot of money. Like maybe there is a coaching program that's worth $10,000 if it's very high touch and you get a lot of someone's time and energy, whatever. But the leap, the stretch feels not grounded to me. And so I said no because I didn't have $10,000 and I felt uncomfortable. And then she became really pushy and basically ended up saying to me, well, your business is going to fail because you're not backing yourself and you're not investing in yourself, and um, you're not serious because you're not spending this money with me. That's an example of bro marketing and also very unethical marketing. And frankly, for someone with my personality type, has the opposite effect because if someone tells me you're going to fail, I'm like, watch me succeed, lady. So it didn't work. It was actually, it had the opposite effect. It repelled me. Um, so I'm giving you all these examples to tell you kind of what not to do. And I'm sure you've seen examples of these types of things online. And some of these things are in Jeff Walker's book. So if you choose to pick that book up, I recommend strongly that you read it with the filter of some of this steps over the edge of what I would personally consider ethical. And for that reason, I was very hesitant to recommend it. But it is a brilliant book, and some of the stuff in there is really helpful. And it does really help us to get into the mindset of selling and sales, which many of us are quite crap at. So, you know, take it with a filter. And one thing I'll say about sales, because we're going to, dive into email marketing and just marketing in general, is I have gotten so much better at sales, so much better, as I have seen the results of my good work in the world. So the more I run this training, the better at selling it I become because I see women go through it and get the results they want. And it's really easy for me to then say, please join my business program because I know that I can help you. So in the beginning, selling can feel a little bit awkward because you haven't yet got the social proof. You haven't yet done the thing. But as you start to do the thing more and more, the selling just gets easier. And like so many things, it gets easier in business because you've seen the results. Like if Bridget creates a program for yoga teachers to support them in training around dementia awareness, and it's all hypothetical, it's really hard to kind of speak about it with conviction because you haven't done it yet. But if you've got half a dozen yoga teachers out in the world working with older people and supporting them with dementia, it's so easy to sell because you're like, I've seen this thing work. It's working. People are doing it. It's amazing. And likewise with any other, that's just one example. But for any of you, the proof's in the pudding, right? So please know that selling gets easier as you go on. And in the beginning, you might feel awkward. And it's one of those parts of our business that we just need to overcome our awkwardness and keep going. It's like a little push yourself out of your comfort zone type of a thing, especially with the first few. And one thing I recommend, if you are feeling unsure about selling in the beginning, if you feel awkward, you can run a first round where it's cheaper, or you invite people in, at a much reduced rate. And it's almost like you're very transparent about the fact this is my first round. I am looking for testimonials. I want feedback. Sometimes that's called a beta round. And I think that's a perfectly acceptable thing to do. Like to say, this is the first time I'm doing this. It's a beta round. I'm sort of cherry picking who I invite. It's cheaper, maybe, and I hope to get testimonials and or feedback. So that's an option. You don't have to do that at all. But yeah, it's there for you if you feel that that would be helpful. Particularly for those who don't have any testimonials, I think that can be a really great way of doing it. Okay, so what are the things in Jeff Walker's book Launch that are helpful, leaving all that icky bro marketing, unethical stuff to one side? Well, one of the things that he is an absolute master at is email marketing. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again really clearly. All of the sales that I get, 90%, let's say, come through email marketing. So the process is people come into my world through something free or low cost. They follow me on social media to get to know me. Maybe there's an in-person experience somewhere along the way, but I don't teach that much in person anymore, so quite likely not. And then email marketing is what drives sales. That's what gets people over the line. From they know about my Ayurveda Goddess training, or they know about Bhakti Club, or they know about Yoga of Birth, but they haven't thought about buying it, or it's on their periphery to they're buying it. I've made a sale. Email marketing is where all of that happens. And I want you to start, if this is the only thing you get out of today's session, let this be it. I want you to start thinking about email addresses as valuable currency in your business. Email addresses are gold. They are worth more to you in many cases than money. So another example, next year, 2026, I've been invited to speak on two different things. I've been invited to speak at a festival, in like a women's festival in Wiseman's Ferry, and I've also been invited to speak at Yoga Day, right? And both of them have offered me a speaker's fee. It's not much, but they've offered to pay me. Great. Oh, and the doula conference, I'm speaking at the doula conference too. Again, small amount of pay because these are grassroots organizations. They don't have big budgets. I've said to all of them, I don't want pay because I want to support what they're doing. But what I do want is access to the ability to collect email addresses. I want permission to be allowed to walk around at the end with a clipboard and gather email addresses, or give out my cards with a QR code on them to gather email addresses, because I know that email addresses from aligned people that have listened to me talk is worth way more to me in my business than $300 or $400 that they might pay me as a speaker's fee. Because each email address has the potential, if I do a good job with my funnel, to become thousands of dollars over time, literally thousands of dollars, because maybe people buy something small now, but later they might buy on and on, right? And I've really built a culture in my business, and I encourage you to do the same in yours, of long-term strategy. Now, I used to not be as good at this in the beginning, because in the beginning, just completely full transparency, I needed the money. So when I first got divorced and I launched my business, I had to earn money to pay my mortgage and pay my groceries and, look after my kids. So if I was going for a sale, I wanted ideally people to pay in full, not payment plan. And I also wanted I'll go for the sale now. So I felt a lot more, um, I mean, I hope I was never like high pressure, but I felt a lot more of a sense of urgency in the way I was selling. Now, because I have less financial pressure, um, I really take a long-term approach. So if someone says to me, I'm interested in this program, but now's not the time, or, I've got something on, but I'd like to do it next year, I feel like, great, come back next year. That's awesome. I'll still be here. I know my business will still be here. I know I'll be running another round. I want people to come when the timing feels right. So again, as your business grows and as you feel more confident in your business over time, you'll feel a lot better usually about people deferring because now's not the right timing. It will feel like you're almost building, now each time I launch, I know there's a handful of people that have already expressed interest in something. And then the other element to that is payment plans are great because payment plans mean I've got income over a period of time. I've got predictable income that I know is coming in. So I love payment plans. Um, and I don't charge more for a payment plan than pay in full because ethically, I actually feel like the right thing to do. We spoke about this with Beck, is not to do that. I think a small extra amount for like an admin fee is fine, but inflated additional amounts on payment plans, I think is wrong. In fact, there's something I want to sign up for at the moment with an American teacher, and she's charging $1,500 more if you do the payment plan. And just the fact that it's that much more expensive. The thing itself is 3,000. So it's 3,000 if you pay in full. It's 4,500 if you pay over payment plan. I don't know. I feel like that almost is enough to just put me off the whole thing because I'm like, it doesn't feel good. Like, why are you penalizing people with less money that need a payment plan? Anyway, that's just my thoughts. So why are emails so valuable? Because if you do a good job with your email marketing, you are creating customers for life. You are building relationship, rapport, trust. You're creating community. You're creating a culture. This all happens in email, in my business at least, and many of the people whose businesses I follow and I know. So one of the first things I want to encourage you to do, and this is our next piece of homework, this is our next step, is I want you guys to write a minimum 3-part email sequence for your new followers and subscribers. So what does that mean? When someone signs up to your email list through whatever means, whether it's through your freebie or because they met you at an event or whatever, they automatically, and it needs to be automated because otherwise the manual labor is way too much. Like, you want to have this in some sort of automated system. They automatically get sent a series of emails welcoming them to your world. So if you have the question, what should those emails include? 2 recommendations. First of all, start looking at the welcome emails that you are sent from other businesses, right? So sign up for other people's freebies. This is a really good way to learn, you guys. Sign up for other people's things. You can always unsubscribe later if they send you far too much. Some people do send like a whole lot of stuff and then you have to unsubscribe. But subscribe to a few people who have successful online businesses and notice, what do they send you? What does it contain? What's the timeline? Like, I've honestly learned as much about online business by looking at what other people do, not copying, but just observing, as I have by formal coaching. So first of all, see what other people are sending out. And then second of all, there's a really good resource. So I did a training called Email Stars with a woman called Tarzan Kay. She's brilliant. I love her. She's an ethical marketing person. So she's the opposite of Jeff Walker. In fact, she's actually done podcast interviews where she speaks against Jeff Walker. So it's sort of funny that I'm giving you 2 recommendations this week, one of whom has actively spoken out against the other one. But anyway, you're discerning, intelligent adults. You can figure that out for yourself. But Tarzan is all about ethical marketing and storytelling. And she's really, really good at email marketing oriented around not just selling, but story. So I did her course, Email Stars, a couple of years ago now. It was excellent. I learned a lot. I really love her. And she has on her website a freebie, which is her opt-in, and it's a short guide to writing your welcome sequence. So what I recommend you do is go and sign up with her. I will put the link in the notes, and I can also pop it now in the chat. Sign up with her. You will get not only the welcome sequence copy kit, which is what you'll need to write your own welcome sequence, but you'll also get to be on her mailing list, and then you can see how she markets, and you'll learn an awful lot from her. And any other freebies that she has, I highly recommend. And her paid programs are great too, but I think most of you probably not in a position to pay for more programs right now. But she's good. She's really good. Now, her way is not the only way. There's different ways of writing a welcome sequence, but I think hers is really solid. You do need to figure out the tech. So whatever you're using for your email, okay, if you're just collecting email addresses and you've got them in like an Excel spreadsheet, first step is you need an email marketing software. So my recommendation is Shine Pages, because Shine Pages contains that within it, as well as the website and the point of sale and everything. That's why I love Shine Pages, because it's all the things. Kajabi, which I use, is also very good and contains all the email marketing, but Kajabi are in a world of pain at the moment because they've just inflated their prices. They've overplayed their hand and they're just charging. My annual Kajabi bill has just gone up from 3,500 US dollars to 5,000 US dollars, like overnight. Edwina's jumped ship and moved to a different platform called Ivory. I haven't quite got the guts it's just so much work for me to move to another platform. And they know it, which is again why it's so unethical, because they know that we're all locked in. I've got all my products, all my email, everything in with them, my whole website. To move is months of work, and I'd rather pay the $1,500, but I'm annoyed at being ripped off. I used to be an affiliate for Kajabi. I love the product. It's amazing. Its functionality is great, but I'm no longer an affiliate for them because I think it's unethical to just raise your prices that much overnight. And Shine Page is who I'm not an affiliate for, but that's what I now recommend as the alternative. I think it's really good. Another one that's great is Offering Tree. Offering Tree is also very good. And so with Offering Tree, Shine Pages, there's also Constant Contact. There is there's another one, MailChimp. These all allow you to automate. So as soon as someone signs up, it triggers like a little tag in the back end, and automatically they will be sent the email sequence. Maybe they get the first one immediately, the second one on day 3, the last one on day 5, something like that. And the point of this welcome sequence is not that we are selling anything. We are not selling. And this is important. You're not trying to sell. You are introducing yourself, and you're getting them to know you, like you, feel a sense of connection to the work that you're doing. It's like dating, right? You don't just suddenly ask the person to marry you. You go on a few dates and get to know them first, usually. So this welcome sequence is the dating, it's the romancing, it's the getting to know you. And then when we do start selling, we're not selling out of thin air. It's not like a sudden marriage proposal comes out of nowhere. They know you, they like you, you've been on a few dates, and so they're open to the suggestion of purchasing from you. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah, good, beautiful. Of course, you can get ChatGPT to write your welcome sequence for you. However, increasingly, I am using ChatGPT less and less to write for me. I love ChatGPT. I use it a lot for strategy and planning and decision making in my business. What did I have to do yesterday? Yesterday, I had to decide. Oh, my memory. Oh, I know. I had to decide whether or not I was going to upgrade my phone in the Black Friday sales. So I have quite an old iPhone, and my provider is Optus, and they emailed me 50% off the new fancy iPhone 16. And I was like, I don't know, do I need a new phone? Do I not need a new phone? Should I take the 50% off? I was like trying to figure it out. So I asked ChatGPT, help me figure out whether or not I want to upgrade my phone. Give me a list of pros and cons. I went through it all. In the end, I decided not to because there's nothing wrong with my phone at the moment. Um, but it's really good for things like that. Like it can really help you order your thinking. Like, for example, let's say you're trying to figure out should I go with offering tree or shine pages? Ask ChatGPT. It's brilliant. It'll help you. It'll go through all the pros and cons, all the ideas. You could even say to ChatGPT, give me some ideas for my welcome sequence. I'm writing a three-part welcome sequence. Give me some ideas based on what you know of my business. And I strongly recommend that you do pay the $20 a month to have the paid version of ChatGPT because then it gets to know you and it will know a lot about you, and that saves a lot of time. It's well worth the investment. And it will come up with ideas for you, but don't get it to do the actual writing because we all know and can tell immediately when something's been written by ChatGPT. And I want to say this particularly to people that have English as a second language. Those people especially do not get ChatGPT to write for you because we love your individuality and your personality and your little slightly different ways of writing things. That's you. That's your personality. That's what people want from you. If you sound like a perfectly spelled, perfectly grammar, perfectly everything robot, where's the soul? The soul is gone. I used to follow a woman. Well, she's still a friend of mine. I didn't used to, but a friend of mine is French. She's a business coach. She writes the best emails, newsletters. I love her work, and I used to love getting her newsletters. And they always had like a little funny little translation or grammar thing or something that was just slightly not quite right. But so her, because French is her first language. And then she switched to writing everything with ChatGPT, and I was like, I've lost her. I don't feel her in these newsletters anymore at all. So you guys have all got access to the AI for yoga teachers product that Edwina and I created. And I talk about this a lot in there. If you haven't had a chance to go through that yet, I strongly recommend that you do. I am very much middle path when it comes to AI. I don't think it's the devil. I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually incredible and really helpful. But I also don't think we should let it replace our personalities, or we shouldn't outsource to AI thinking AI is better than us. We are always, always better than the computer, even if we're slightly wrong, because we're human and human is always better than robot. So I want to encourage you to write your own welcome sequences, but if you need AI to help you a little bit with ideas, then by all means go for that. So your homework is to write your three-part email welcome sequence for email. And this is a precursor to then thinking about launching and having your audience ready for you to sell to them. Another thing you might want to think about is a sort of scheduling and time planning piece. You might want to look at your calendar, probably at this point for next year. I don't recommend doing lots of selling in December, January. It's like the worst time for selling. So if you're going to launch a new course or a new program or a signature offer or some kind of group program, my strong recommendation is February. Unless you're in the Northern Hemisphere, when I used to live in London, we used to do a lot of launching in early January, and that was a good time for selling because people feel very deflated after Christmas and it's all dark and cold and miserable and everyone's depressed and wants to just like do something to feel good. So a lot of people will join yoga programs or personal development programs or health programs in January because it's kind of like, give me something to feel good about. But for us here in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia, we're in the middle of summer. We're all loving life in January. We're off work, we're at the beach, kids are off school. Like it's a completely different dynamic. So in Australia, I don't recommend, like February is the new January here in Australia. I recommend like New Year for me and my business begins on February 1st. Kids are back at school. We're all back in our routine. The weather's cooling off slightly, and now I'm selling. Like I can tell you right now, I've hardly got anything planned to sell. Black Friday sale is the last thing for this year. December, January, kind of quiet-ish. February, I got a whole bunch of stuff planned already. So another thing you might want to do at this point this week is get your calendar out for next year and map out the first 6 months of the year. What are you going to launch? When are you going to launch it? What are you going to sell? What will your bonuses and special offers be? Um, what's the timeline? What are your goals? What do you want to create? By when? Make a plan. Have a strategy. Um, this will help you so much because, as we all know, time just slips through our fingers. And before you know it, a month has gone, another month has gone, another month has gone, and we still haven't done the thing we wanted to do. Um, I this is a bit embarrassing to admit, but I have literally spent this whole year intending to do more Instagram lives. Like I want to do more educational Instagram lives where I actually go on Instagram and teach like almost mini workshops. Hasn't happened all year. Like every month, I'm just like, oh shit, I need to do that. Like, okay, next month, right? Oh no, another month's gone by. Okay, next month. That's happened 12 times. So next year, I will be going onto Instagram, and I've actually had to like make a chart for myself, and I'm going to mark it off, and I've set dates. If it's not, Marie Forleo, who's a brilliant business coach, says if it's not scheduled, it's not happening. And I love that. I remind myself of that all the time. It's like when you meet someone in the street, right? Like let's say you bump into someone in the street that you don't that you know, like an acquaintance, whatever, and you're like, "Oh, we have to catch up for coffee." Yeah, let's catch up. But no one like initiates like I'll text you or how about Tuesday? You just go, "Oh yeah, we should catch up." You know you're not going to catch up with that person. It's just like I love the idea of it, but also we're all busy and see you later. Versus you text someone and you go, "Are you free on Tuesday at 10 o'clock? Let's have a coffee." Completely different vibe. And this is the same in your business. If you go, "Oh, I'm going to try to launch in April, I'll see how I go," you're probably not going to launch in April. Whereas if you go, "On the 11th of April, I will release this freebie. And then on the 21st of April, I've got these bonuses to go with this product. And this is my call to action. This is my deadline." You're launching. So schedule it. When you schedule it, it's real. And even if you schedule it and you don't keep to schedule, just the fact that you had it scheduled will keep you so much more accountable because you'll look at your diary and you'll go, "Oh, I was meant to do that." And then whatever, you go, "Okay, life got in the way, it didn't happen." But it feels a lot more tangible than just a kind of pie in the sky, I have an intention, but I don't know if it's actually going to happen type of thing. Um, Another way of getting yourself to actually launch and do the things is to tell your audience. This one's a cracker. So I have this new thing coming out in April. I have this new thing I'm going to be launching in February. Even better, sell it from now. My Idea to Impact course, which starts in February, is selling now. So guess what I'm going to be doing in February? 5 people have already bought the program. I better be delivering the program. Otherwise, I've ripped 5 people off, right? So, this is a brilliant way to hold yourself accountable. Sell the thing before the thing happens, and then you have to run the thing. That's a really good way of working with scheduling and accountability. Okay, so this is some stuff around launching. Once you've done your warm-up sequence, your email sequence, you're going to continue to email your students and clients regularly in some way, maybe once a month, maybe once a fortnight. Like you want to keep them warm with some sort of regular content. And then intermittently in phases, you'll email them more frequently because you'll be launching. If you only send one email about a thing that you are offering and it has no call to action in it, you will not sell that thing. And it doesn't mean the thing isn't good. It means your marketing wasn't good. This is so important because so often, and it breaks my heart, teachers say, or, people in business say, "I made this great thing. I put so much work into it and I sent an email out and I got crickets. No one booked and I feel super sad and it was obviously rubbish and no one likes it." Not true. It's just there was no call to action and you only sent one email. You will notice if you're on my mailing list that I'm sending multiple emails about idea to impact right now. I'm putting multiple posts on social media. I'm sending an email every day this week about Black Friday. Every single day I'm sending an email out. That's a lot of emails. I feel a bit like, oh, it's a lot of emails. Sorry, everyone. But you know what? Every time I send an email, I make sales. So you got to tell people about your thing. And you got to get over this uncomfortable feeling about that. And yes, people will unsubscribe. It's normal. It's okay. Let them unsubscribe because more people will join. In fact, I have the notifications switched off for my unsubscribes. I'm like, I'm totally happy for people to unsubscribe, but I also don't want to know. Just quietly unsubscribe and that's fine. Um, Email marketing is an art, it is a skill. I want you to get really good at it, and I want you to just know how incredibly valuable it is in your business. And you can only market to as many people as you have on your database. I often think, like, this is a stage I'm at in my business now, where I think to myself, I have so many proven like funnels now, right? I have funnels in my business that I know work. If I exponentially grew my database overnight, I'd be a multi-millionaire. All my business lacks at this point is more email addresses, like literally, which is a wild thought. It's a very interesting thought. And next year, one of my biggest intentions in my business is I'm not going to create new programs. I'm not going to make new offers. I'm just going to build my email list. The more eyes on your landing pages, your website pages, the more eyes on your offers, the more sales, the more money. It's not rocket science. Most people that have very, very successful online businesses have big audiences. It's really that simple. Um, okay, let's have a quick look at the chat. So Calpert is asking, how did I get the conferences to let me collect email addresses? I literally just said, is it okay if I give out my card and collect email addresses at the end? And my plan is to old school send a clipboard around during while I'm talking and get people to write their email addresses on it. You could also do an iPad, but I'm old school. And give out business cards that have my QR code on them where people can get a freebie that relates to the thing I'm talking about. Okay, let's open up to other questions. I would love to hear your questions about launching and email marketing. And anything else you want to ask as well, if anyone has other questions I'd like to ask today. Particularly interested and happy to hear your resistances to email marketing and launching as well, so that we can kind of work through them if anyone has any doubts or hesitations.
I have a question, Katie. Ideally, what's the perfect amount of emails to be sending out each week to your user base?
Yeah, great question. So I think if you're not launching, the ideal is once a fortnight. I think that once a month is not often enough, although you can get away with it. Once a month is okay, but people do tend to forget you in the interim. I think once a week is probably a bit too much. I think the sweet spot is once a fortnight. Um, when you're launching, personally, I like short launch windows. So this is a little bit to do with temperament. I'm Pitta in Ayurveda, which is very fire, and I like a short, sharp sprint. It's just how I work. So generally, when I'm launching, for example, this group program, I'll usually launch it 3 weeks before it starts, and then I just go for it, and I want to fill it in that 3 weeks. But I like a sprint and I like a challenge. It's just my personality. And I find that if I have too much of a long launch window, I'll lose momentum. I just lose energy. Um, some people find that very stressful, and for their nervous system and for their personality, it's just too much pressure. And so those people prefer a longer launch window because it's less intense, which I completely understand. And they're more the kapha types in Ayurveda that like to do the slow and steady wins the race kind of thing. totally fine. I personally lose momentum. It's not for me. So how many emails to send in a launch phase really depends on the length of your launch window. My Black Friday sale, for example, is a week, so I'm sending an email every day. When I do the launch for this program, I usually send 6 emails over 2 weeks. A lot of emails, but I'm not doing it all the time. You will see your unsubscribe numbers go up when you send more emails. More people will unsubscribe when you send more emails, but more people will also purchase. So, it's kind of a give and take situation. One of the clues about whether or not your emails are doing well and whether or not you're like getting the traction and the results you want is your open rate. So a statistic to look at, which the back end of, MailChimp, Constant Contact, Shine Pages, Kajabi will show you is how many people opened your email. Industry standard is about 25 to 28%. That's like normal. So not, in other words, not everyone's going to open your email, and that's very, very, very normal, right? If you're getting 25 to 28%, you're doing fine. If you're under 25% open rate, not so good. Your emails are either boring or you're sending too many of them or something. Anything over 30% is great. You're kicking goals at that point. So that's worth knowing. Um, you will see your open rate drop in a launch phase where you're sending a lot of emails because people get fatigued. They're like, oh, she's still on the Black Friday thing, they stop opening the emails, which is fine, to be expected. I always give a break after a launch. So I won't send an email for a good couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks after I've intensively sent them. And sometimes I may even acknowledge that. I might write in the last email, I know I sent you a lot of emails. Please forgive me. I'll give you a break now. Like, just be transparent. I've also seen, I haven't done this yet, but I may do it at some point. I'm not sure. People with bigger lists, and by list, I mean how many people are in your database. I've seen people with bigger lists give you the option to unsubscribe just from a particular campaign. So I don't know if you've seen this, but sometimes I've seen it where they'll say, I'm going to be sending you a lot of emails about the Black Friday sale. If you don't want to hear about the Black Friday sale, but you do want to stay on my list, click here. Um, in all honesty, part of the reason I haven't done that is because I don't know how to do it. I know the tech exists, but I got to figure it out. But that's an option too. If you're feeling uncomfortable about sending a bunch of emails, you could also give people the option to unsubscribe from that sequence. How do you respond to people unsubscribing? Do some subscribers return later? Can you please share the insight on how you've gathered so far and why they unsubscribe? You know what? Honestly, I don't give time and energy to unsubscribes. I personally keep a really clean email account and I unsubscribe a lot from things because I don't want to be inundated with a lot of emails. I unsubscribe from people who I love and I like their work because I know that if I want to go back to it, I can just find them again. I don't want to receive all the emails. I don't think it's personal. I don't care. I mean, obviously, if I saw like a hemorrhaging of emails, if I woke up one morning and I'd lost like 100 subscribers, then that's a red flag. I'd be like, oh my goodness, what have I done? I've offended someone. I've done something wrong, right? That's different. But just normal unsubscribes from people who no longer want to receive my emails, I would rather focus on getting new subscribers. Like, it's fine. Unsubscribe. It's okay. There's plenty more people out there that want the thing. And we go through phases. There might be a time when my work is really helpful and relevant for someone, and then they outgrow it, or they're not interested, or I'm too repetitive, whatever. It's fine. It's just go and do your thing and come back. My door's always open. Yeah, I just really don't give it very much thought. And like I said, I don't even actually track it very carefully because I don't want to get an alert every time someone unsubscribes. That's not a good feeling. I want nice, happy alerts. Um, Yeah. And then in terms of getting new subscribers, your best way by far, which is what I've taught you in this program from the very beginning, is your freebie. You just keep telling the whole world about your freebie and you make your freebie good. Have it be really good, really generous, really like you feel so good about telling people. You feel so good about it. You feel like, oh my goodness, am I actually giving too much for free here? That's how you want to feel about your freebie. You want to feel like borderline, I'm over delivering. And then that's what builds your email list. Of course, other things are great, like collaborations, someone mentioning you. Um, the other day I posted a well-known birth working person. I reposted something of hers, and then she reposted me, which was not my intention. I didn't do it because I wanted her to share my stuff, but she did, and I got a bunch of new people subscribed to my yoga of birth stuff. So sometimes things like that happen. Um, but usually, honestly, most of my list building has been a slow and steady drip feed over time. It's rarely a flood of people all in one go. It's like a few people each week. I do run ads. I run Facebook ads from time to time. I don't recommend you do that at this point early on in your business because they are expensive and the algorithm is tricky and you can lose a lot of money. You're much better focusing on organic traffic right now. As you get bigger, you can allocate a budget to Facebook ads. And I've also just started dabbling with Google ads as well. But again, big expense, potentially not the best return. Another thing that can work, I sometimes advertise in the Yoga Australia newsletter, like very aligned adverts can work, but they need to be really aligned, like not just a general ad in a general place, but an aligned ad for your demographic can really work. If you're a local business, a local ad could work. Like, for example, Rachel taking out an ad in her local newspaper might not be a bad idea because it will be less expensive and also it is her target audience. But again, you can spend a lot of money on advertising and it can be a waste because the audience is too broad. Any other questions?
I have a question around this may be really specific to me, but I think it can be a broad question as well. Like for the studio, I feel like I'm almost going to be in constant launch because there's monthly events. So like there's constantly going to be something new that I'm going to be like, oh, now this is on, now this is on. But then when you're talking about, because I was thinking about membership as well, how that's really what I want to sell and that's kind of like ongoing. And I didn't really want to do discounts, but I like that idea of doing bonuses. And immediately I thought, oh, for my birthday week, I'll do like, if you join in my birthday week, you'll get like a bonus. But just in like regards to like constantly launch, just any thoughts around like kind of managing the constant launching and maybe launches overlapping and doing different things at
Yeah.
once.
Yeah. Yes. So this is what happens when you get to the point where you're selling multiple things in your business, which is where I'm at too. Like I have a bunch of different things I'm selling. My thoughts are there's a famous marketing phrase, which is a confused mind doesn't buy. And I would add to that an overwhelmed mind doesn't buy. So if you're trying to sell too many things at once, in general, what people do is they don't purchase anything. The analogy that I find quite useful is let's say you need to buy toothpaste and you walk into a supermarket and they only have two types of toothpaste. You look at the two types of toothpaste, you do a quick comparison, and you buy the one that is best for you, right? If you walk into the supermarket and they have a wall of 50 types of toothpaste, you stand there for 20 minutes looking at all the different types of toothpaste. And in the end, you go, I don't know what toothpaste I want. This feels really hard. And you end up not buying toothpaste, right? So we don't want to be promoting too many things at once. In general, what happens then is people choose nothing. They might have the intention to come back and choose something later, but they'll delay the decision. And this is like very well proven in marketing psychology. They'll delay the decision because there's too many variables and I can't decide, right? So we want to present very clear choices. We want it to be either it's A or it's B or it's only A right now. So what I do in my business and what I recommend for you, Rachel, is have launch focuses. Yes, there's a whole bunch of things that people can buy. They can buy membership, they can join the workshop, they can do teacher training, blah, 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 blah. But at any given time, you're focusing on one or two particular things only. So I would literally get your calendar out, and I know you're a super organized person, and map out month by month what are your two main marketing focuses that month and drive those. And yes, the other things are still available, but you're not driving them to anything like the same degree. What I wouldn't do is send newsletters out that have 10 things on them because you'll really diminish your call to action then. Like a whole list of here's what's coming this month. That marketing is bad because people just go, geez, that's a lot. Okay, see you later. So it's tricky because when you have several things going on at once, you want to tell everyone about everything and everything feels important, but yeah, you'll massively diminish sales if you overwhelm people. And I have learned that the hard way by doing it wrong. Yeah. And for those of you who are still more at the beginning of your business, this is why I've encouraged you to simplify and just have one pathway because it's so much easier to sell. You know, Rachel Rogers, who wrote We Should All Be Millionaires, she says, and I mean, this is a case of do as I say, not as I do, because I'm multi-passionate. It's so hard for me to have just one offer or one, like I am really bad at this, but I know it's good advice. She says until you've made $1 million in your business, you should only have one freebie, one mid-range, and one high-cost offer. One. So that would mean I would have to choose either Bhakti Business or Bhakti Rose. First of all, that's like choosing between my children. And then even in those businesses, I would have to cut out a gazillion programs and offers and just have one pathway. But she says it's the most efficient way to make money. If making money is your goal, being known for one thing. And I think about people like Katie Silcox, for example, who runs Shakti School in America, which is an Ayurveda school. She's a multimillionaire, self-made. It's an online program. She runs it once a year. It's only one thing. She does the same thing over and over again, and she's nailed it. She's absolutely nailed it. It's simplicity. It's like you want to do an online Ayurveda training, you go to Katie Silcox because it's really high quality and it's what she does and it's all she does, and she's known for that. Yeah, it's too, I can't, yeah, I have too many interests and passions to ever be that person, but I know that it's good advice. Little bit different with a bricks and mortar like studio. Of course, you need to have lots of different things. That's different. But for online space, one pathway. Really, it really is good advice. Any other questions? And I'll just add to that that very commonly when we start wanting to add in new programs and do new things, it's usually because we have become bored, not because our audience has had enough of what we're offering. Like usually for me, when I go into creation mode, it's because I feel excited, not bored, but I'm like, oh, I want to offer this new thing. Oh, I've got this great idea. Oh, I'm excited about this. But actually, if I was just thinking about business and making money, which I'm not saying that should be the only reason we're doing business, but you know, we have to keep it in mind. I probably wouldn't create more stuff, which is why for next year, I'm really trying to have an intention of I'm building my database. I'm not creating more offerings. Watch this space. We'll see. Cal is saying some newsletters send gifts. What are your thoughts on having, oh, gifts, pictures, stories? Yeah. Look, I like really simple email marketing. I like emails that feel just like a text letter that someone's written to me, like a regular email, but gifs and pictures and little stories can really work. Edwina does a lot more of that type of thing than I do. It can work. If you do it well, it can work really well. So yeah, you can do a very nicely designed, highly stylized newsletter that has, you know, different sections and what have you, or you can just do simple text. I lead with words and text. That's kind of how I do it, but that's not the only way. There's definitely other ways, and there's nothing wrong with GIFs and memes and all that stuff. And often people will open them. Tarzan talks a lot about that. She often has lots of little memes and GIFs and stuff in her newsletters, and they work really well for her. Actually, one other thing to mention that I haven't spoken about today is the subject line of your email. Oh my goodness, so important. Don't have a boring subject line. Don't have your subject line be welcome to Bhakti Rose, or, let me tell you about my offer, or just no. Make it interesting, even a little bit intriguing, um, curiosity provoking. Yeah, good subject lines are everything. So, yeah, think about that for sure. Any other questions? Okay, we're all good. Everyone knows what the homework is. So you're going to write your 3-part welcome sequence. You're going to figure out the tech of how to get it set up. If you want to share your welcome email sequence with me, I am more than happy for you to do that. Probably not in WhatsApp because they'll be too long, but you can email me your sequences and I'm more than happy to look at them. No problem at all. And what was the other part of the homework? There was a second part. Oh, yes. I've given you another piece of homework, which is that in the portal, I want you to look at a resource in the portal, which is under Satsang, and it's called 150 Ways to Market Your Business Without Social Media. And I want you guys to think about ways that you can start building up your database. So by market your business, I mean gather email addresses that are not only social media, because we can get really stuck on that being the only method. And it's a great method, but it's not the only method. So open up that document, have a look at it, choose 3, 4, 5 out of the 150 and commit to actually putting some time and energy into those to gather your email addresses. Now, another thing to say is there is no point gathering email addresses if you've got nowhere to send them. So before we do this, we need to have our freebie ready and we need to have something to send them to. Otherwise, you're just gathering email addresses for no reason. So this is why we've done the work. We've got our website set up. We've got our products set up. We've got somewhere to send them. Ideally, we've even got something to sell them a bit later on. But at the very least, we've got a welcome sequence. We've got a website. We've got a freebie. So we're warming up our audience ready for when we're ready to start selling. And at that point, we want to start building the audience. So there's no point launching if you've only got 4 people on your database. In fact, that's a question I sometimes get asked. How many people do I need to have on my database before I launch like a signature offering? My personal opinion is you want 100 people at least. No point launching if you've got less than 100 people on your database because you're just not speaking to enough people. More is great, of course, but first goal, get to 100 people. And then when you've got 100, then you can start launching. There are some exceptions to that. It does depend on the business a bit, but that's a rule of thumb. So think about ways that you can get those people that isn't just Instagram and Facebook. And there's lots of suggestions in the portal. Okay, everyone's got the homework. We're feeling good. Any last little threads, questions, doubts? We're all happy? Amazing. Okay, great. I will see you guys in the WhatsApp chat. The recording will go up with all the notes. So if you want to clarify the homework and the notes from today's session, including the link to Tarzan's free welcome sequence guidance, it'll all be in the notes for today. Have a beautiful afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.